think like what's really interesting in that regard is I think like philosophy as a kind of like a tool set, right? And you can apply those tools to really any field. And I think most of the time, those barriers between different disciplines are really just artificially construed, and it really helps. Like philosophy really helps to see that because it's just clear thinking, right? Clear thinking can be applied to any different problem, and this is how you reach good conclusions. It's not like, there are different sub-methods in different fields, but I think it's just about trying to figure out how to reach, how to get down to the bottom of the truth in every field really by using good tools, by using logic and reason and free speech and argument. And I think that is what philosophy teaches you really well. While first I think all of those different subfields that I was interested in, like another one that was the kind of like part of my involvement in also like more the political sphere with philosophy and public policy, and then also working in politics for a little bit, was this aspect of creating new alternatives to the current system and creating better governance mechanisms, and that because I think that getting that right makes it much more likely that we get everything else right. But to me, this interest in longevity, this interest in AI, and in kind of alternative governance, kind of like projects like seasteading or other of those projects, but they always kind of seem to me like unrelated until I moved to the Bay. And then suddenly I had this like epiphany of like, wait a moment, people actually care about all of those things. And it was really to me, I mean, the Bay is often called a bubble, right? Because people, like live in those, like live in the silos of this kind of like, kind of like more futurist, well-being focused, kind of like silo that is enabled by technology. But for me, it was really not an echo chamber, and it still isn't, because I was not ever in that kind of community before. So coming here and suddenly realizing, because I did effective altruism as well at university, but more in the sense that back then it was still a little bit more current focused, like trying to do good right now. And now that it has become a little bit more futurist with AI safety, it kind of seems like in the Bay it pulls all those strings together, right? You have this alternative society building movement of like seasteading of the blockchain ecosystem. You have people working on AI and AI safety. You have people that are really concerned about getting, about really making sure that we create well-being for future generations as well. And suddenly all of and longevity too, right? It's a really big, big project here. And suddenly all of those threads were pulled together, and I was flabbergasted that people care about really the same things, and many of them.